Hello, hello. All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, everybody, to the June Employee Forum meeting. Thanks for being with us. Can the online folks hear me? Just a quick thumbs up from somebody online.
I can hear you.
Perfect. All right. We've got a bunch of folks joining online. We've got 144 people online. So lots of people in the room, both literally and metaphorically, which I love. So thanks for being with us, y'all. This is one of my favorite Employee Forum meetings of the year. Our peer recognition ceremony is our kind of capstone event of the year. And really recognizing our peers gives a lot of joy to my heart. So looking forward to doing that. This is my last meeting as chair of the Employee Forum, which I'm very excited about. It's
Recording in progress.
Great. Thanks, Matt. So looking forward to taking a step back and letting Rebecca kind of take the helm and lead you all forward through the next year. So with all of that said, we've got a really busy agenda. So I'm going to, without further ado, turn it over to our amazing Awards and Recognition Committee chairs, Charlissa Rice and Shayla Evans-Hollingsworth. They're going to come forward and lead us through our peer recognition ceremony. So come on forward, ladies.
Thank you all for being here today for this exciting and meaningful occasion. We want to express our sincere gratitude to everyone who participated in the 2025 UNC Employee Forum Peer Recognition Awards process. In a time when so many of us are managing increased workloads and added responsibilities, your efforts to recognize and celebrate your colleagues is truly commendable. To those who submitted nominations, thank you for the time to lift up your peers. And to the UNC Employee Forum delegates who thoughtfully reviewed the 175 nominations we received, your dedication is deeply appreciated. UNC staff are truly top tier, and today's event is a reflection of that excellence. Please give yourselves and each other a well-deserved round of applause. Now, without further ado, we will begin presenting the awards. As your name is called, please come forward to receive your certificate and have your photo taken. If any recipients would like to know who nominated them, feel free to reach out to me or Charlissa after the ceremony. The first award that will be presented this morning is the Staff Member of the Year Hall of Famer Award. This individual consistently exemplifies the university's mission of integrity, collaboration, respect, and high-level customer service, and has been with the university for at least 5 years. Our first recipient of the Hall of Famer Award goes to Vicki Crabtree. Vicki began her career at UNC in 1984 as a clerk typist in the Contracts and Grants Office, which is now known as the Office of Sponsored Programs. Over the years, she steadily advanced through a variety of roles, including accounting technician, assistant contract specialist, awards manager, and finally, team lead program administrator. During her 30-year career at UNC, she proudly spent 28 and a half years dedicated to contracts and grants. We wanted to highlight a comment from their nomination. Vicki's breadth of knowledge and adaptability allows her to support a wide range of research and administrative needs, each with its own unique challenges. Regardless of the unit she is assisting with, Vicki consistently delivers the same high level of responsiveness, professionalism, and results. Vicki is not here today, but I think she was going to be online. So, Vicki, thank you. Our second recipient of the Hall of Famer Award goes to Mary Beth Grew. Mary Beth serves as the program manager for North Carolina Translational and Clinical Sciences Institute, which is also known as NC-TRACS. In these roles, she supports researchers, community partners, and other research partners conducting qualitative and engaged research and evaluation projects. She leads internal research and evaluation projects and develops and delivers trainings and capacity building activities related to qualitative and engaged research. We wanted to highlight a comment from her nomination. Mary Beth has garnered immense respect from everyone she has worked with teams noting that they couldn't have completed their work without her, complimenting her exemplary leadership and returning time and time again as repeat customers. Thank you.
The second award that will be presented today is the Staff Member of the Year Perfect Addition Award. This award recipient consistently amplifies the university's mission of integrity, collaboration, respect, and high-level customer service, and has been with the university for less than 2 years. Our first recipient of the Perfect Addition Award goes to Erin Wadsworth. Erin joined the... Is Erin here? Erin joined the UNC Husman School of Journalism and Media staff in 2024 as the Communications Project Manager. Erin is a 2022 graduate of the school, brought her institutional knowledge and experience in communications to launch the school's new website and continues to manage its development and content. We wanted to highlight a comment from her nomination. What sets Erin apart, however, is just not what she does, but how she does it. She is respectful, proactive, and a trusted colleague who brings a positive can-do attitude to every task. She is the kind of teammate who makes every project better simply by being a part of it. Thank you. Our second recipient of the Perfect Addition Award is Ashlyn Quaylo Allen. Ashlyn is a 2016 UNC graduate with a BA in History and Archaeology. Prior to joining the foundation in July 2023, Ashlyn worked as an English teacher abroad for 5 years. Ashlyn helps to create stewardship reports, acknowledgement letters, and other donor communication materials. We wanted to highlight a comment from her nomination. Ashlyn has been such a great addition to our team. She learns new skills constantly and shares what she learns with colleagues. She always brings a smile and a can-do attitude. Oh, they were there providing.
The next award that will be presented today is the Professional Excellence Award. This award recognizes 4 deserving staff members for exceptional execution above and beyond assigned duties, supportive interactions within their department, and supportive interactions between campus departments, and/or exemplary interaction with the outside community. Our first recipient of the Professional Excellence Award goes to Lydia Collado Reyes. As a career services coordinator for the Gilling School of Global Public Health, Lydia assists students in achieving their career goals through personalized counseling, organizing career education workshops, and coordinating career events and programs. Lydia highly values collaboration and empathy in her mission to support student success and is always a cheerleader for her students, colleagues, and friends. We wanted to highlight a comment from her nomination. Lydia has significantly improved communication and engagement strategies between Gilling students, alumni, and career services. She streamlined outreach efforts to ensure that information, resources, and opportunities are delivered in a clear and timely manner, making career support more accessible and impactful for all. Our next recipient of the Professional Excellence Award goes to Gwen Lau. I don't think she's here, but she may be joining us online. As a clinical research coordinator, Gwen supports inflammatory bowel disease research by connecting patients to the studies and leading tissue sample collections. Through adult and pediatric studies, she aims to better understand the genetics of IBD and advance treatment options to improve better outcomes and quality of life. A comment from her nomination says, she works well with the doctors and nurses at the hospital and helps push our collaborations. She not only communicates well with her fellow peers, but also patients. Without her, our translational research would be at a standstill.
Our next recipient of the Professional Excellence Award goes to Jordan Jackson. Jordan has been in Carolina Housing since fall 2021. In his role, Jordan directly supervises 4 community directors while providing leadership for 16 community directors and over 200 RAs in their role of building community, providing meaningful programming, and implementing purposeful engagement strategies for residential students. Jordan's nominator stated that his leadership style reflects a deep belief in the potential of those around him, and the ripple effect of his investment is seen across the department. Jordan's contributions extend far beyond his job description. Our final recipient of the Professional Excellence Award is Diane Bocum. Hopefully I pronounced it correctly. She began her career in 1994 at UNC Chapel Hill as a budget officer and later accounting manager in the School of Medicine's faculty practice plan. In 2002, she was appointed university cashier, a role in which she continues to serve with integrity, expertise, and a deep commitment to serving the people of North Carolina. One nominator stated that one of her most remarkable qualities is her ability to maintain her professionalism while working collaboratively with colleagues across various departments. Her leadership style fosters a supportive and inclusive environment, encouraging teamwork and mutual respect.
Okay. The next award is the Overton Leadership Award. This award honors the memory of Jackie Overton, a beloved forum chair whose contributions made the forum a permanent group on campus. The purpose of the award is to recognize and reward individuals who have provided outstanding leadership to their office, department, unit, and the university as a whole through involvement in staff issues, committee work, teamwork, professional development of peers. Nominees should be individuals who demonstrate outstanding leadership qualities, inspire and involve others, and work to assure that the impact of their efforts in the community campus is lasting. Our first recipient of the Overton Leadership Award goes to Rebecca Black. Rebecca's current role is house manager for Carolina Performing Arts. She leads a 40 student ushers and collaborates with peers across campus to provide exceptional customer service and cultivate a sense of belonging for all guests. She earned a master's in arts management from the University of Oregon and a BA in political science from the University of Kansas. A comment from her nomination. She runs her huge team flawlessly with meticulous attention to every detail, but what truly sets her apart is the mentorship and care she offers to each and every student on the team. She takes the time to know each team member personally, celebrating their successes, supporting them through challenges, and helping them build the confidence and professionalism they'll carry into their future careers. She is consistently creating an environment where students feel seen, valued, and empowered to grow. Our second recipient of the Overton Leadership Award goes to Diana Calhoun-Jones. As team lead at the Center of Excellence in Community Mental Health, Diana oversees staff performance, manages clinical documentation, and provides direct client support. She specializes in creating supportive environments and guiding clients through employment and therapeutic pathways. A comment from her nomination. Diana made sure to check base with me and my coworkers during department's transition and always gave a word of advice and genuine encouragement. Diana kept up the entire team's energy when we were working through our waiting list and new referrals. Diana has personally spent time with each and every employee on the team to discuss their workload and burnout. Thank you.
The next award that will be presented is the Pinnacle Award. This prestigious award recognizes an individual who has demonstrated leadership, vision, and commitment to excellence. Nominees should be individuals who are on a path of continuous learning through the professional development. Nominees also should have proposed a new idea and moved the idea towards implementation and constantly creating a supportive and inclusive environment. Our first recipient of the Pinnacle Award goes to Amber Wing. As the Assistant Director of Student Staff Development and Multicultural Competency for Carolina Housing, Amber led the training and development for over 300 student staff members during both the fall and spring semesters. She directly supervises 3 professional staff members, 2 community directors, and the coordinator of residential leadership. Beyond her responsibilities at UNC Chapel Hill, she is honored to serve as the president-elect of the North Carolina Housing Officers, where she proudly represents the institution at the state level and contributes to shaping the future of campus housing across North Carolina. Amber's nominator stated that she uplifts housing professionals at all levels, ensures that they have access to opportunities, resources, and networks that enhance their ability to support students. Her service at this level not only enhances her own professional journey, but also expands the reach of Carolina's housing excellence and influence. And she's with us online. Congratulations. Our second recipient of the Pinnacle Award is Alice Stone. Alice is the overall logistics, policy, scheduling, planning, capacity tracking, and support lead for staff and students in the application phase, students' third year and first clinical year for the School of Medicine. Alice's nominator states that she kept students at the center of all decisions and designs to which she contributed, continually referring to her certificate work in higher education, as well as her learning through experience and participation in committee dialogue.
I promise we're almost done. Next up, we have the Three-Legged Stool Award. The Three-Legged Stool Award, also known as the Community Service Award, is awarded to someone who has distinguished contributions, who works to promote cooperation and collaboration among faculty, staff, and students. Nominees should be individuals who inspire creativity, promote harmony and partnerships within the university community, also inspiring teamwork, cooperation, and participation, demonstrate new approaches to current processes, encourage, mentor, and build bridges, form alliances to work collectively, or demonstrate any other significant community building activity. The winner of the Three-Legged Stool Award goes to Kimberly Capri. I'm not sure if she's online, but Kimberly is the Administrative Director of Student Affairs, in which she oversees the employees and office environment for the Department of Health Science Office of Student Services. Kimberly demonstrates leadership skills and maintains positive departmental relationships with staff, faculty, and students. Kimberly's nominator stated Kim has been in the role of Student Services Director since April 2023. She has organized several community building activities, including events such as student food drives, therapy dogs for students on the last day of classes, Earth Day celebrations to encourage interaction and unity, staff professional development podcast clubs, staff mental health first aid group training, trick-or-treat events for students, and staff workshops promoting teamwork and connectivity.
Next, we have the Manager of the Year Award. This award is given to a manager who has distinguished accomplishments throughout their university career, both within and beyond their normal job responsibilities, or has accomplished something specifically within the past 12 months that has been major significance. The winner of this award goes to Joanna Schuett. Joanna is the department manager for the Institute for the Study of Americas, overseeing administrative, financial, and personnel operations. She holds a BS in Business Administration from the Florida Institute of Technology, where she also gained over a decade of experience in administrative roles. Joanna is passionate about supporting faculty and students engaged in impactful research, education, and outreach focused on Latin America's role in the Western Hemisphere. Joanna's nominated stated that she fosters a warm professional environment. Her patience and good humor, even on the busiest days, make her not only a great manager, but also a joy to work with.
This is the final award. So last but not least, the final award that will be presented today is the Outstanding Encouragement of Learning and Development, which is also known as the OELD Award. This award is given annually to a supervisor or manager who actively facilitates the participation of staff members in learning activities. An eligible supervisor encourages employees to attend classes and programs that are relevant to the employee's professional development, and the university wants to recognize supervisors who support a more engaged, productive workforce. Both SHRA and EHRA managers who have had at least 1 year of continuous university service are eligible for this nomination. The recipient of this award goes to Ross Babinet. So I'm not sure if Ross is with us online today, but Ross is a research... Oh, hey!
Hi.
So Ross is a research administration team lead for the Research Administration Services Center under the Office of the Vice Chancellor for Research. Ross's responsibilities include training and development of all staff, including training for external stakeholders. Ross's goals are to increase the knowledge base of all team members and the campus at large, to improve their ability to become effective and efficient research administrators. So one of Ross's nominations stated that Ross consistently goes above and beyond in providing meaningful development opportunities for team members, and his efforts have had a profound impact on our success. His proactive approach to learning and development includes creating comprehensive training programs, facilitating engaging workshops, hosting lunch and learns, and motivating individuals to explore new opportunities in research administration. Through these initiatives, Ross has empowered employees to expand their knowledge, develop new skills, and achieve their full potential in their roles.
On behalf of the entire employee forum, Shayla and I extend our gratitude to the other forum delegates listed here. Listed here who reviewed nominations. This is a labor of love, and we truly appreciate the time and effort you put into helping us acknowledge our peers and the wonderful sentiments that were shared by their colleagues. Many thanks to Matt Banks, who helped streamline this process. We couldn't do it without you. Thank you again to all of those who participated in the Peer Recognition Award process and all of you who attended our ceremony today. This will conclude the award ceremony for the UNC Employee Forum Peer Recognition Awards for 2025, but we have one more group of dedicated folks that we'd like to acknowledge. So we'll turn it over to our chair, Katie Musgrove. Have a great day and go Heels.
All right, y'all. So while we are recognizing our peers, the Employee Forum always takes this time of the year to recognize our Employee Forum delegates as well. So we every year select 3 outstanding delegates who receive our K. Wimberg Hovius Outstanding Delegate Award. And this is really just a recognition of all the hard work that they do. All of the folks on the forum are hard workers, but these 3 stood out. So without further ado, we're going to award the first to Miss Renata Buchanan. I don't know if Renata is online.
I'm here. Sorry, guys. I have a sick baby.
Renata is online. Congratulations, Renata. I just want to say a few words. Renata is our fearless Carolina Blood Drive chair and really a lifesaver on this campus. So thank you to Renata for all of your hard work. All right, next up, I really want to thank this person for really tireless advocacy this year. The next one goes to Sarah Green. Again, Sarah is a tireless advocate for her fellow staff, so we really appreciate you, Sarah. And last but not least, we have Miss Annetta Streeter. Congrats to Annetta. Annetta has been tirelessly working as our treasurer this year, and we couldn't have done it without you, Annetta. So thank you so much for your service.
Thank you.
Yes. Again, I want to reiterate, these 3 stood out, but all of the Employee Forum delegates have really put in so much work this year, and we're so appreciative of each and every one of you. We couldn't do this work without you. So congrats to our 3 winners. We also have certificates. We're not going to give them out right now, but at the end of the meetings today, if current delegates are here, come down and see us. We've got some outgoing delegate certificates for folks, and we've also got some swag bags to give out to the delegates. So we'll do that at the end, though. So congrats, everybody, and thanks again for an awesome year. Awesome. Okay, so we have now literally reached the 200 participants number online, which is great. Is there a way to put the kind of Hollywood squares up on this screen, Jason? I know how to do it on this screen, which I did, but I don't know how to get it up here. Oh, and the check marks that have somehow, like... While we sort out this technical difficulties, I have no idea where those came from. No? Because we could stop sharing, I guess, and reshare. I mean, I agree with all the check marks, but we're going to get those off there. No, you're good. I had to message the people in your Fearless behind the scenes to do it last time, I think.
If there's a delegate who doesn't have your name like placard, let me know, please. Raise your name, that kind of thing. Then we try to pick everybody.
And folks can feel free to move down further. I know some folks just left after the peer recognition ceremony. We don't bite, no. We're the fun group on campus. Awesome, that's fine. Either one's fine. Cool. Yes. I don't know how they did that. Awesome. Thank you, kind sir. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to welcome up Nate Knuffman, who is Vice Chancellor for Finance and Operations, and Scott Savage. I don't know your title yet, sir. It's long. You can introduce yourself when you come up, but thank you both for being here and for giving us this important presentation.
Good morning. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be with you. We're very happy to join this group, and I like all the positive energy. And I must admit, it is nice to see many people in person. I know we often spend time on Zoom together, so it's nice to actually be with you in person. Thanks, Katie, for allowing us, when we approached you about being on this agenda, for fitting us in. So we really appreciate that. Service first. What is service first? Why are we doing it? Service First is really an initiative aimed at improving our operations and finding some efficiency. Our assessment, our services on campus are somewhat uneven, and our spend on them is high relative to peers. And we feel like there's an opportunity to both improve how we operate, but also save some funds in doing that. We have heard some reaction that some folks are feeling blindsided by this initiative or this effort. I do want to address that in the sense of we have been very consistent in trying to talk about the direction in which the institution is heading, in needing to look at how we operate and how we deliver services. I have been in the well talking about this. The Chancellor has been repeatedly talked about some of it. We've tried to use every forum we've had to really at least initiate moving in this direction. In fact, at the last I'd encourage you, even in the last employee forum meeting last month, Katie asked a question on shared services, and we actually talked through kind of how we were defining that, what was in scope. I'd encourage you to go back and even look at some of the review that transcript. The other thing I wanted to mention about this before turning it over to Scott is just there's been a lot of we've also heard there's just some dissatisfaction that we've already made conclusions or we've already made a decision on what's going to happen with shared services. The only thing we have decided is we've come up with a name, so we have called it Service First, but this is really an evolution of where we've been headed. We've been talking about needing to operate more. We've added a name. We have some structure, and Scott's going to talk through a process. But that's the extent of it. There's no predetermined outcome on how we are going to operate at Carolina. And so I just want to make sure that we're grounded at least in that and how we're approaching this. I do want to turn it over at this point to Scott to walk through in more detail and the process we're thinking about and just some more information on Service First. So thank you.
Yeah, I'll use this. Well, first, thanks for the introduction, Nate. And then before I get started, I feel like I need to at least explain how I got here. So with all the awards that I just saw, I want to apologize for those that have been here over 25 years because I was a student here, undergrad and pharmacy school here. So I'm a pharmacist by background. And seeing those awards and the environment and the culture that the staff team builds at UNC Chapel Hill, I never knew how valuable that was when I was a student. And you fast forward over the decades and seeing two daughters who are going to college now, that it was a tremendous gift. And then after leaving pharmacy school, I spent 2 years up at Ohio State doing additional graduate school work and did a residency at the hospital there in pharmacy practice, and never thought I would be in higher education administration. I spent 20 years in large academic health system pharmacy leadership roles. And then in 2019, the then dean of the UNC Eschliman School of Pharmacy left to become the provost of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. And then there's a gentleman who is still on campus, Rick Warnoski, who's the AVC for Operational Excellence, who was in the Executive Vice Dean COO CFO role. And I was crazy enough to think that this was my chance to jump in higher education. So I did, I applied. I was told I was not the ideal candidate, right? Because I wasn't an accountant. I wasn't any of those things that the traditional COO, CFO for a school would look like. But I was a pharmacist, and I also taught. So I'm still adjunct faculty. I teach in the PharmD program. We have a master's degree here in pharmacy leadership that I did at Ohio State. We did not have that in Chapel Hill in 2002. And we've been teaching that since 2008. So I've been on campus. I'm a Tar Heel through and through, and just seeing those awards and giving a little bit of background on how I even got back on campus, I wanted to at least intro with that. My time at the School of Pharmacy, when I joined, it was a big change. If you think about healthcare, it really was a 7-day-a-week job that I was in. I had no idea how nice it was to jump over to higher education. And then COVID happened, right? The gift of COVID for me, in my old hospital job, I would have lived there. And then fast forwarding, the university has given me the gift of being, really a better dad, a better husband, because I can be present. And I wasn't that way within my prior space. My leadership here at the School of Pharmacy started with a lot of the functional areas that are in scope for Service First. So think about all the traditional things that you all represent. Based off my background, the prior dean, Dean Kashuba, she allowed me to pick up other stuff. So I had our university recognized centers, all of our recharge centers reported up to my administrative role. And then in my last 2.5 years here, our Office of Student Affairs reported up to me. So if you think about that, in the pharmacy school, that's the PharmD program, our master's degree programs, and our PhD programs. And it gave me a really good sense of how cool it is to work at a university. Fast forwarding over the course of last year, I felt compelled that I needed to do something different. And I didn't want to be a dean because I didn't fit the traditional pedigree, right? And an opportunity in finance and operations came up, and it aligned with a lot of what I did in the healthcare system, which was create shared services for pharmacy across the state of North Carolina. And so I was the new leader back in 2017, where there's a lot of history of shared services on campus. And if you've been here since 2015, you'll remember UNC Chapel Hill's push into shared services with what was called Carolina Service. And then there's a bunch of different answers on why that didn't launch. But what it did provide us, leading into Service First, are a lot of different pockets of shared services that already exist on campus. And there's some best practices that exist. Some of those started based off of that initial move into shared services back in 2017. So I wanted to add a little bit of the history of what Nate said. I've been in my role for 9 weeks, and we've been sprinting because it's an important initiative. The headwinds that the university face are really kind of unprecedented. Post-COVID, and then if you think about it, which all of you are experts in, the ever-evolving external pressure points, whether it's federal or state-related. And being a part of the university now for almost 30 years, it's never going to end. And if you've been here long enough, you know that. And my main hope for Service First and the content that I get a chance to steward over the coming months and hopefully years is to embrace what I experienced at the School of Pharmacy, and the staff that work with me can tell you this. The staff team that I started working with in 2019 wasn't necessarily represented the way that we wanted them to be represented. What I would always start with since day one in this conference room, ironically back in 2019, is what I embraced in the healthcare system, which is the staff is the glue for the functioning operation. Now, I didn't understand that when I said that in 2019, but fast forward and watch the faculty flow and then the staff, my style, and I'll roll in these slides, is to embrace three things everywhere I've been in the last 20 years. Number one is connectivity. How do you create groups that want an aligned mission? That's a fundamental pillar of my leadership style. Number two, collaborate everywhere. And that's an important part of Service First. The third thing I've tried to embrace is social responsibility. And this position embodies that. And so I'd be remiss not giving a little bit of history of how I got here, what I'm trying to do with Service First, and then launching this program as an extension of you all and the leadership team here to be able to achieve some things that will allow us to not only survive for where we are now, but the next 10 to 20 years. As Nate mentioned, the Chancellor's charge isn't just from Chancellor Roberts. I mean, it's really all around us. I was at a national conference this week. It's the Higher Education Shared Services Conference. And it had leaders from across the country that are doing this. And what I heard from there is a few things. One, the concept can work. It can work. Two, when you focus on quality and service, everything else kind of follows. And then the third pillar of data, being able to elevate the service and quality across campus, were imperatives across all the presentations that were delivered over a 4-day conference for many of the universities that are in our peer group. And so everything I said about the Chancellor's charge is 100%, I appreciate it. Thank you. Next slide, please. It's completely aligned with the priorities of Service First. So as Nate mentioned, and I've kind of went into, the processes across the functional areas that I'll touch on, they're intended to elevate Carolina, the services that students receive, the environment that our faculty are in to teach, do research, provide service to the state, and then our staff team to feel good about where they work and actually want to come to work. Now, within all of our intent throughout Service First in terms of focusing on quality and service, there's no plans of deconstructing something. If you have something to remember from here, I frequently use the comment of it's an evolution, not a deconstruction. And I repeatedly said that throughout my journey within the School of Pharmacy, where we face some significant challenges, even as the #1 School of Pharmacy, over the course of 2019 into where we are today. The tools and systems we've got, are we leveraging the software and the infrastructure? I've been here long enough on campus to know that we've got some opportunities there. And then the people piece that Nate mentioned. And then the hope at the end of the day is where I can sit and represent the included functional areas and say, look, we're 100% optimized. And in fact, the services that we give at UNC Chapel Hill, for lack of a better phrase, are better than anywhere else in the state because we get compared to the entire state, even though I know we're a little bit unique. And then also from peers, where data available from our compare group across universities, we can see how they staff their HR or their IT or their facility services. And being able to show that and always be able to stand in front of leadership groups, deans, board of trustees members, board of governors members, anyone that represents the funding stream to provide support for the university, and it's a cornerstone piece of where I hope Service First will get to. Next slide. So what's in scope? These 6 really represent everything that's been done in prior efforts with this other than procurement. We added procurement for a specific purpose because, as you all know, accessing procurement, it really allows the operations to flow. We spend billions and billions of dollars a year on good things, but even if Bo Jimerson were here, the chief procurement officer would say there's opportunities for improvement. The other areas, finance, HR, IT, communications, and research administration were all thoughtfully considered to be able to leverage the talent that's already here, but also extend that across campus, because there are pockets of schools, units that would love to have some of the talent in this room. If you've been on campus long enough, you know the reputations of each area. And it used to be a running joke with our staff here is, I love recruiting good talent from across campus to come to the School of Pharmacy. And also I enjoyed School of Pharmacy people leaving, as Katie did, to take on new challenging roles that exist across campus. And that's a cornerstone piece of that leadership development. The academic operations is an additional pillar. The vetting of that hasn't been as detailed, okay, what's in scope, largely because, as you all know, we've had a little bit of a shift in the provost. With Provost Dean coming in, he's a member of the steering committee, and trying to guide conversations about the academic operation is still to be determined. But by the next employee forum, if I get a chance to come back, if Rebecca will have us back, we'll be able to kind of fill in even more detail of where we are the next 2 months, and then where the academic operations pieces are in scope as well. Next slide. Thank you. The objectives, and I'll talk about the areas. So if you think about those 6 functional areas, I've identified subject matter experts in each of those areas. HR, Linc Butler. IT, Mike Barker. Communications, Beth Keith. Procurement, Bo Jimerson. Finance, Carly Pierce, Colette Brown, Lindsay Farling. What did I miss? Research, Andy Johns. And so those 6 areas with those people, our first meeting is actually scheduled for the end of this month. Now, leading up to that, I have a team member with me, Georgia McRae. Georgia's one of the senior transformation managers of Operational Excellence. She's been working with me now, I think, for 4 weeks or 3 weeks. 4 weeks, we'll say. Feels like 6 or 8. But Georgia is helping in terms of getting everything going. And the pre-work for those subject matter experts of really diving into what exists on campus now, because when I ask about shared services that exist on campus now, you'll get, College of Arts and Sciences has an awesome one. Hey, have you heard about finance and operations? Or School of Public Health has an awesome setup. The School of Medicine, or some of the other areas that exist across campus. So the subject matter experts will represent you all and get you involved in a task force structure for those interested, and being able to show, what is the current environment. And then from there, number 2, what are the opportunities? I would love to say, here's the list. I have a good appreciation for our data as we compare to other universities, and also the network I've been able to build around shared services. There's some good models out there. And then there's also plenty of stories that were not so good models. So being able to find those opportunities is what we are intentfully gearing up for over the course of the summer. Service expectations and metrics. I'm a pharmacist. Pharmacists and accountants were kindred spirits, whether you know it or not. Most of us are extremely introverted. We love data. And I'm a numbers guy. And the establishment of metrics across those 5 functional areas is intended. What are best practices, not only for higher education, but external industries of how we provide service, how we drive quality, how we enhance revenue, and how we modify cost allocation or expense. Those 4 elements are critical pieces to the value equation. And then service delivery structure, and then lastly, the big burly one is, how fast are we sprinting? And when we figured out that this forum was available to us, I haven't turned down any forum that I've been invited to. I've had enough time on campus to know if there's any way I can come and communicate, help demystify, or gain support, I'm going to show up. Whether that's here, or it's in your team meetings, or it's just you and I having coffee. If you want to do it, I'll pay. Please don't everybody email me for coffee, but I will concertedly make the effort to spend time and hear you out. I also will tell you when, hey, I hear you, but this is where we've got to go. I've done that at UNC Health. I know I have that reputation within the Eshelman School of Pharmacy, and so that's my personal commitment on that implementation and change. I'll be one of the voices. Obviously, Nate's will participate, but as we get further along in presenting what idea we want to consider, this will be one of the first groups to get in front of and explain the why and the how. Next slide. I mentioned some of these pieces of the collaboration. The steering committee is lean, but it's good, right? It's myself, Georgia, Nate, Christy Hurt, the chief of staff, and then Jim Dean, as an extension of Chancellor Roberts and some of the things that he has wanted to do, and I'm excited to help participate in that. The work group I mentioned, those subject matter experts, we'll have some additional academic team members as well for that first work group to help figure it out. We're going to break out the academic group totally, but the work group, we have meetings every other week planned through, I think, October. And you can imagine how excited the people in those roles are. There's a mix. Like, there are some that are like, here we go again. There's some that are like, yes, we need to do this. And, I've appreciated their time of welcoming me into this new leadership role, but at the same time being willing to do this with me. The functional task force will align with those work groups. And then lastly, aligning with the dean's group, with Provost Dean, our intent is to be able to get some initial either support or people, deans with concerns, and where they would be a big sounding board for us. Next slide. The design process, as Nate mentioned, it's under development. It's intended to be thoughtful with those priority areas, those functional group areas. The recommendations that we put in place and putting forward of the steering committee, and then bringing it to other public forums across campus, employee forums, the Power Forum, the faculty events that happen. And, we are going to make every effort to show up and present where we're heading, hear the feedback, and then also be able to share our successes as we move forward. The dean's review, and then lastly, the overall executive approval. So if you're interested in how it's going or you want more conversation about that, my calendar is also open. And if you want to meet with me, I'm happy to do that and hear your feedback at the same time, lessons learned from your prior journey with this on campus, and then hopefully we can be a team together. Next slide. Timeline, Nate kind of mentioned, I've kind of hit on some as well. There's a lot of different opinions on the pace of which this can work. What I've experienced in the healthcare system side, leading shared services for pharmacy, we were basically representing 3 hospitals when UNC Health was just 3. Main campus here, Chatham Hospital down in Siler City, and then Rex over in Raleigh. And so I met frequently with those CEOs and COOs who did not want us there, right? But over time, the data carried us there. You'll be able to see where we have successes, and we'll be able to see where performance just isn't there. I've found there's a myriad of reasons for why performance isn't there. Is it the people? Is it the leader? Is it they don't have the tools to be successful? So the advocacy of where, I would encourage you, the second point I wanted to make is just give us a chance. The culture and the institutional goals we have around collaboration and teamwork for all of us performance-wise is integral to this, And experiencing it will be something that my whole goal of leaving a really good job within the School of Pharmacy is having the opportunity as a graduate, a state citizen, family here in North Carolina, is to help steward a university I love that has to transform. It has to evolve. It's doing awesome stuff, but the things that we're faced against, I want to make sure that I can do everything in my power to work with teams to continue that for the foreseeable future. So those are the closing remarks. I think the timeline, and then I know we've got some time hopefully for some questions. So if you have questions for Nate or I, we'll go back and forth.
Teresa Silsby from ITS. I've been here I'm approaching 30 years soon. And I recall several years ago, we was discussing this with some long-term employees about shared services. And I recall some years ago, we tried shared services and it didn't work. And so can you give us an idea of why we are revisiting this? What's different that will why you believe this will work this time?
Yeah, I'll go first. You good with that? Here's what I've found out. So number one, the external environment's totally different than when it was there. I mean, in terms of an imperative of what we need to do, it's, then as I've talked to people that were leading those decisions, as one individual said, Scott, of all the stuff I had to do in my leadership role, Carolina service as a focus, there wasn't this financial platform of like, you got to do it. Now that exists. That's number one. The second, I found in my own journey in the health system and talking to peers is governance is integral. And what I found, is leaders come and go, staff come and go, but what I found from conversations and I was doing some of this due diligence even before I jumped into the role. So I had some conversations with people like yourself who were here. I was like, why didn't it work? And the second reason I kept hearing was governance. There was disagreement, whether it was the chancellor, vice chancellors, or provost, where they were positioning it. And I've experienced where it's a little bit, it requires some perseverance because it's uncomfortable like any change initially. But over time, looking at peers and then embracing some best practices, it just evolves the operation. So those are the top two that I've heard, Teresa, different from when we were back in 2016, 17, 18. Thanks for that question.
So I'm going to bring it, we're going to do one in person, one online, back and forth, because we have several online. So, no, I have to hold it down. Never mind. We're going to do one in person, one online, so I'll bring forward the online questions. So the first one is, how are these shared services going to impact department staff currently in these roles?
Yeah, I tried to lead in with that a little bit. I don't know yet. And the intent of mapping out the activities across these functional areas, that's the intent of, rather than me sitting in my office looking at other universities and the data and saying, hey, HR, this is how you need to build HR. We're going to leverage the talent on campus. It's a little bit of a different style because most of the time when I've experienced this, there is a multi-million-dollar consulting engagement that does that, delivers a model, presents the model, and we roll. That's not the intent of what Chancellor Roberts wants to do. It wasn't what Nate recruited me to participate in. And so as we get more information, I mentioned the hope of mapping that out where we can show some initial models as early as the fall semester is what I'm hoping to be invited back here to share. And then the subject matter experts, if you're in one of those areas, the real intent is for you to be involved in that behind the scenes with those individuals. I'll be involved, George will be involved, other transformation managers will be involved to support that conversation. But it is intended to align with the experts in the areas on campus and figuring out what that model and then what would be the impact so we can plan accordingly.
Elizabeth?
I'm kind of building on Teresa's question. I feel like we haven't finished exploring this.
Katie, we can't hear the question.
Now it's great.
Okay, how about now? Oh, sorry. Okay, I am in research administration. I am under one of the smallest departments at the university. I'm appreciating your energy, and I am a believer in the concept and the potential for what shared services can do, because I already rely on it quite a bit. My concern is there are various people who have verbalized the pressure of understaffing across the history of this university. And I'm visualizing traffic. When you close small roads and only have the big road, if the big road has a traffic block, nothing gets through. And there's no other way to get through it. I'm experiencing a situation where my wonderful centralized services in a particular function, they're overwhelmed now. And then things slow down even more, and we've lost the ability to push it through on our own volition and of our own power. That makes me nervous, and I wonder, as you evaluate how this works, how that feeds back into making sure the system is viable, that you don't move too fast, even though you talk about acceleration, and that since I'm in clinical trials, that safety principles and ethics are not violated.
No, I appreciate that question, Elizabeth, and so I'll give my response if Nate has some additional thoughts. What I found in the initial discussion with the subject matter experts across those areas like Andy, his take is, yeah, we need this. Now, the reason he says that is because exactly the example you gave. He's like, Scott, I want to help X place, but I don't necessarily understand how that position was justified. And then at the same time, I think the hat of where Nate is overseeing finance operations and HR, my perspective as the new guy is, relying on somebody like yourself as a leader, Andy Johns, to say, hey, we need this research administration position because of this. Or, this unit over here has none of that talent, which, as you know, and it was always a challenge for me at the School of Pharmacy, which is in the research administration, it was do not stifle the flow. By the interim dean of the School of Pharmacy, Kim Brower, that was her first comments to me, do not stifle the research engine. And I didn't know what she meant by that in 2019, but I aligned our HR team and the data that we always were able to open doors. So my hope is that the subject matter experts around that area can eliminate as rapidly as possible when you have and hit issues. And I think you use that right now for your example, but that global strategy around research administration, and however we have the day-to-day team members embedded in units, removing those barriers. That's a cornerstone piece of what we want Service First to be able to drive those functional areas in an optimized manner, but at the same time, like the pillars I mentioned around quality and service, that always don't line up with the data. And having the right, the alignment of leaders to be able to get things done is the intent of that legacy of where I hope Service First can go.
The only thing I'd add, I just want to emphasize that part about quality and metrics, because that's really the key, right? It's if we're contemplating change, making sure we have that commitment to the quality on how we execute, and we're measuring that, and we're able to justify that these changes make sense. And we're not there yet in terms of what it looks like. I also think the timeline's important, being able to have that time to work together to try to find the right solution for us. I do think, too, I just want to underscore, being in research, you uniquely appreciate this, what environment we're in, and why we're asking these questions. It's a tough conversation. It's a tough situation we are in, but we can't afford, at this point, not to operate as efficiently as possible, but also not lose sight of that quality. And so we've got to find that balance. That's what we're going to be working through.
All right, so the next question online is, how do we volunteer for the functional task forces?
So we are launching a web page, servicefirst.unc.edu. That's slated to go live mid-July. With these positions, I get an opportunity to get interviewed occasionally, and so I just did an interview with the Well, where I think the intent and alignment with that messaging is, hey, here's a forum. My last name is Savage, right? If you want to email me, email me. I can control my email box. I've done that for decades. Now, I'm not going to respond and say, hey, here's a task force and location, but I will represent that. And as we get more and more structure for the subject matter experts, the intent for them is to reach out to the units to get people involved. So I would say first, if you have some questions or follow-up from here, please email me. I'm happy to do that. Be on the lookout for a little more publicity around Service First with the website. The website will solicit ideas. It will also have where I wholeheartedly want to hear whatever questions or concerns are, and I'll respond. Okay? And so first layer, email me right now. If you have some thoughts, I will make sure that is played out, and then be on the lookout for additional communication.
Megan?
You. Hi.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I am the loud, sometimes obnoxious voice of the skilled workers division. This sounds great, but I just wanted to make you aware, if you're not already aware, that there is a lot of lost institutional knowledge going on in the skilled worker area, because a lot of people are retiring and because we haven't necessarily kept up with cost of living. So there's not a lot of applicants that are applying for those positions. There's several issues that need to be addressed in the skilled workers area. And I know that is crucial to operations, foundational to any kind of operational development. So if you want to grab coffee, or better yet, come to facilities and talk to people in person with me, I am totally willing to do that, and I will email you after the meeting.
Please do it. No problem with doing that. Any forum that you feel like, even the messaging of this, happy to attend and hear the questions, and then commitment to being a voice for some of the things that are naturally going to come up as we talk about these functional areas. And then my goal would be able to influence overall operations for the university with Service First is being able to steward things like that and be an additional voice on Nate's leadership team for the reason why we need to do it and focus on it.
All right, the next online question. So what would centralizing academic operations potentially look like? I'm assuming that's the green box on the slide.
Yeah, again, this one in particular, figuring out what's inside of there, some initial things that have come up is, as you all know, each school has a registrar team. I know at times for the School of Pharmacy, we struggled keeping that role in place and then right-sizing it as our programs grew. Thinking about the launch of master's degree programs that went from 5 people to now it's bringing in like 55 graduate students from across the world. And that comes with a lot of different new things. And so having that capacity within the academic team, which I already know there's an organic group that does that. So that idea of coming up, other ones that have been thrown out are up here in terms of advising and career services. As we've engaged with Jim Dean initially, and then Dr. Corby, Giselle Corby on the faculty side, we'll continue to figure out what that is. And that'll be a block that hopefully at the upcoming Future Employee Forum we'll be able to really dig into. If you have ideas, whoever asked that question, or it's like, don't do this, that's fine. If you could please let us know as well.
In the college, I work for the Department of Economics. And I would argue that within that exploration, there are aspects of staff within these academic units that directly affect the success of our undergraduate, our graduate students, and our faculty. And so whether that's sitting in a faculty meeting advising our chair or helping our faculty, like, we understand what they do, we understand their research, and we understand how our grad students flow through programs and how our undergraduate students, like, what they want to achieve when they graduate from programs. So that is a really complex, I know you know that, but it's a really complex being and a really complex animal. And so I will certainly reach out, like I'm writing an email right now to my leadership in the college to say, please bring this to those of us in individual academic units, because we're so different. Yeah. The 70 departments in the college are so uniquely different. That's why we have unique staff presences. And the one other part of it that I would argue that I don't think you missed, but is there's a community level for staff that's really important. There's an on-campus presence of staff that's really important, and I think that that's a part of it I don't want to lose, because it directly affects the students and the faculty, is really being present in the physical buildings that house these departments.
No, thanks for that. Appreciate that.
Somebody asked a very pointed question in the chat. How will this impact employment? Do we have to worry about rifts and potential job losses?
I can address that. We're just not there yet. I mean, we just launched this. We really want to spend that time with this process, working through with the subject matter experts in these areas, in trying to really work with data and bring back some models to consider. We're not there yet. It's a tough time for higher ed. I want to say that, though. It's a tough time for higher ed. We're not immune from some of those impacts, and we do have some pressure to operate as efficiently as possible, but we are not there yet.
Natasha?
Great. I'll preface by saying I haven't been at the university that long. I'm going into year 5. I feel like this is not the first time we have seen a large-scale initiative with a branding guide and all the things around operational institutional efficiency. What sets this apart from other things? What do you all think is going to guarantee, to the best of your ability? I know nothing's guaranteed, right? But what do you think would set this initiative apart that you all are working on and potentially make it successful if implemented?
I can take a stab at this one, and then Scott may add on. I think Scott mentioned this earlier. I want to put a finer point on it. I think one, just the imperative we have just to operate more efficiently. It is very, very. This gets overused, but it is unprecedented that what is happening in terms of the uncertainty at the federal state policy landscape, the need to operate more efficiently, we cannot afford not to operate as efficiently as possible. So you've got this backdrop of really, I think, a larger push to operate more efficiently, combined with some alignment that I don't think, frankly, has been there in the past. when President Hans installed Lee Roberts as chancellor, he emphasized the need to elevate our service to match how incredible we are on the academics. And he pointed that out at that point in time more than a year ago, right? So thinking back and think about and from that time, you see this alignment between our governing bodies, others, to really move in this direction. So I think that's different than previous attempts at this and previous. The last thing I'd mention is just where the campus is at from a maturity standpoint. We do have a better sense of how things fit together. We're managing, for example, there wasn't even a budget process that was more comprehensive across the whole campus in terms of understanding where expenses are sitting and what they're used for. I think we have a process now in place where we've now in the 4th year of that, where we just have a stronger foundation to kind of launch from. So I think those 3 things I see as very different than the previous effort. You're right to ask that question. We've been asking that question about why did it, because this is not a new conversation, right? You're right to bring that up. And I think but I do think those things are different than in the past.
Yeah, I mean, my elements were going to be, it's the focus of service, right? And it's going to be connected to data. And what I've found for myself on campus, and is totally could be wrong, where I was, one of my first meetings here at the School of Pharmacy was with a faculty member. He said, "Scott, you have too many staff." And I sat there and looked at him, and I was like, I don't know how to answer this. But I took my cap from the healthcare system, and we walked through it, and within about 9 months, I was able to say, we don't have too many staff. We have some areas that need to be optimized, actually. And then partnering with faculty, it was, do you have too many faculty? And so that type of conversation was what got me interested in this role, knowing that there's history. And what I found, again, is those external pressure points make the alignment of this integral. The one thing that I've always seen on campus is everyone kind of aligns with wanting to support each other. That's always been on campus. And my main goal with that of unifying support, elevating Carolina, and the tagline wasn't made up by an expensive marketing company. It was made up by me. And so that is my North Star of functioning with that. And my commitment to, joining teams isn't to watch something fail. And so I'm kind of all in with it and being able to march through it with you. And I don't know if all 6 functional areas in 7 months, 8 months are going to still be the same 6 functional areas. I mean, I think Nate's commitment to the due diligence, Chancellor Roberts' commitment, is figure out what needs to be firmly in scope and then what is left out and why. And I can say that. So that's my hope. Great question. I appreciate you asking that.
So we've got about 8 minutes left, and we're going to try to get to as many questions as possible. But just know, I guess your email is open. So if we don't get to everybody, email Scott. Next question in the chat. You spoke about data just now. It's a good segue. This person asked, where did it go? I just went completely out of order. It was asking about what are the metrics and how does those get measured and what is success for this?
Yeah, I look forward to presenting that entire, here are the 5 key metrics for each functional area. We've got a list right now for each subject matter expert based on a lot of different past information that was provided. And the hope is that, if I'm working with Beth for communications and we are articulating why we need additional people or we need to change things based off the data, that I'm not going to I don't think I'm qualified to say, hey, communications, here are your 5 metrics, right? I've tried to do that before. It didn't go well. Not in this role, but in prior roles. So the commitment of coming back and being able to present, here are the initial data points, I charged the subject matter experts wading through what some of them are like 40 different metrics we've pulled together from outside resources and kind of honing in on what the top 10 are. And then ultimately my hope is to be able to provide an executive dashboard on a routine basis that at the campus level rolls up, allows Nate and the Chancellor and the Provost to be able to see the flow and then also provides the deans and directors with the right information to know, hey, we're doing well, or hey, Scott in Service First, we need some help. You know, and the data kind of carries you through that has been my experience.
Shana?
Hello.
I'm Shana. I'm a double Tar Heel. I got an undergraduate and a graduate degree here. I've been here almost 20 years. I'm almost 60, so I've been in the workforce for 50 some years. And from what I've observed in service centers, they're well-meaning, but they tend to get heavier and heavier, and fully as initiatives roll out, the service centers end up taking all the resources. And what happens is the people they are serving, positions get cut. This is inevitable. It always happens. I've never seen a situation where that didn't happen. So as a recommendation, I would ask that every staff transactional member that gets cut, you also cut a higher level administrative officer position. That would give you the incentive not to cut staff positions. So I would offer that up as a recommendation. And secondly, when I served on the staff advisory council to the Chancellor, I saw Jennifer Washington on the Zoom. I don't know if she's still here, but we came up with a list of all the platforms that we are required to use. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think Katie was involved with this. The list grew beyond 40. Am I remembering that? So I would hope that as you talk about how to deliver these services, we don't get another platform, because my head will explode.
So I'll go first with that. I'll go first. So one of the things I love to get is what I call a system catalog. And so it sounds like you've done that. Can I have a copy of that? Has it? So I'll get that, or if you have a copy, I'll reach out to Katie. So that's very helpful. You remember one of the priorities was this exact question. And there's no intent of bringing in a new ERP or any of those things. As you know, and this is me just being in a similar role in the past of asking questions about operations, and is it in InfoPort? Is it in Connect Carolina? Is it in the new ERP PeopleSoft? And then can I get it out? And then I would look at my directors and be like, Scott, we can't get that. I'm like, where am I? And so one of the commitments for Mike's team, with him being the subject matter expert, is to walk through that. And then, my hope in that priority, what I am compelled to owe, is how do you align those to get us to 2040, right? Where I know the staff burden of accessing systems. So that priority was intentfully put in there to get at that question. Twofold, on the second, on your first comment about reduction in positions, for me, my experience has been, as we put in one of the priorities with the people, is that the team members do shift, right? I mean, I'm not going to say that there potentially wouldn't be those shifts. And then anchoring it with the value of the quality and service, figuring out what is the right mix. I don't know what that is yet, but I am committed to not shying away from that question as the models are built. I can't commit to reducing a quid pro quo. Duly noted. Just an idea. I take all ideas. I appreciate the energy, no doubt, and the history and the service, and it's always valuable to hear people that have been through these. And my main goal is to come alongside you and see if we can do it together.
Another question in the chat. Will positions be moved to the new area in the service center, or will they have to apply for new positions being created?
We just don't know. We don't know yet. I mean, I would love to say, hey, here's the plan for each of those functional areas. As soon as we know what the potential models would be, the employee forum will be aware of those and allowed to give the feedback necessary. So I don't know yet, Katie. Great question. It's one that even I wrestle with in the roles that I've had in the past around shared services. Being at this national conference is something that everyone that's administering this is wrestling with. But being transparent with the communication on why and what, we will wholeheartedly do.
So we are close, well, we're over time, but folks that want to ask questions,
please do send those emails to me. I can compile them and send them to Scott.
Team up.
And
or
folks
to
that
you, either
ask
way.
questions on the chat that we didn't get to, we're going to compile those as well automatically. So,
And I do want to kind of close this out with just not so much a question as a comment. Well, two. One is where it comes to the functional task forces the functional task force that you're talking about. I think, making sure that the units on each, that the units are represented on each of these, but also that the employee forum has a place at the table in the core work group, just so that there is a voice that can represent this group and can bring those questions forward and take information back. And I guess the last thing I'll close out with is, the messaging in some respects, while I don't think it's intentional, seems to imply that we aren't already Carolina first. And that concerns me a little bit as somebody that, operates with that mindset on a daily basis, particularly when I'm in this role with employee forum, but also just when I'm working with students and other staff. I think we need to be, mindful about this as a way to perhaps, as, you referenced optimizing earlier, but optimizing our Carolina First approach as opposed to creating one. I think it sends a very different message.
Yeah, and well said. So the Carolina First, not Unit First, in terms of operating principle was put in there because how many callers are on the call? 200? How many employees, faculty, and staff do we have? 10,000. 14,000 people, right? And we've got maybe, we'll say 300 represented in here. I have no question that this group thinks Carolina First has been my experience. You wouldn't be given your time. And I think this has always been a voice that I've heard being a leader here in any role I've been in. And so honoring that request 110%. If you want to do it, Rebecca, you're welcome to join our crew. But I appreciate that. My main hope is to come here with Nate and be able to demystify any questions. I would love to be able to answer all the questions, but at the same time, the intent's to unify, support, and elevate Carolina at the end of the day. I don't know where the end point will be, but my commitment, our commitment to being able to show up and represent it is there. And we appreciate you guys extending this forum at the last minute. As I was mentioning to Katie, launching into this, it was, hey, can you come here? Can you come here? We haven't turned anything down. I don't think Employee Forum meets in July. Yeah, we do. You meet in July? But the August would be like the next welcome back to campus, like the flow of campus back in the fall. So I was like, we got to get in front of everybody before the summer. Hey, if you invite me, I'll be there. If I'm here, I have no problem ziplining. I appreciate that. So thank you again.
Thank you both.
we're saving the chat. So again, if your question or comment got added to the chat, it's going to get saved so we can compile all of those things and get those to Scott and Nate as part of our feedback. So give me 2 seconds while I transition and pivot to more business portions of our meeting. All right, folks. So we don't have time to get into committee updates today, so those are folded into the consent agenda. The minutes are also delayed until July, so we aren't going to address those things unless there's a pressing committee update that needs to get pulled from the consent agenda. Do I hear anybody needing to present anything pressing from the consent agenda? No? Arlene, you wanted to pull something?
Just one comment. Since I am rolling off the forum, please contact the community service committee about someone taking on my liaison position.
I think that the liaison position could still be you, Arlene, because committee service is open to non-delegates. So if you're still interested, we would love to have you.
Arlene cannot leave. Arlene cannot leave.
Arlene cannot leave. She's not allowed. And we will look at all of those committee questions and things at the July retreat. So good thought. Anybody else? Other than that, do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right. Any discussion or debate? Hearing none. We'll do this by acclamation. Is there anyone opposed to the approval of the consent agenda? All right. We are moving on. The consent agenda passes. Old business. So I'm going to turn things over to Keith Hines and Matt Teal, who are here online. They are going to lead us through our officer election process. And then we're going to transition after the kind of nominee speeches and everything. While votes are being tallied and submitted, we're going to talk about the resolution. And then at the end, we'll come back and announce winners of the election. So that's kind of how things will go. But with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Keith and Matt. All right, we're going to spotlight you, Keith.
Oh, thank you. Can everyone hear me? I hope you all can. I usually don't have problems with being heard. Like Katie, this is my last meeting as vice chair, as there are people running for the vice chair spot, and my name is not on the ballot. So we're just going to jump right into it. So since we're meeting on Zoom today, today's election will be digitally via Qualtrics, and Matt will, they will put up the link and the QR code for that when we get to that portion. Before we get to casting the votes, we will have the nominees that choose to do so give a brief statement about their candidacy, and we will start with the vice chair position.
Hang on a sec, Keith. Rebecca is up front here with a little timer. According to our bylaws, you only have 5 minutes. So if you reach 5 minutes, that's a lot, but we're going to cut you off. Please try and keep it briefer than 5 minutes because we've got a lot of nominees here. Yeah, so I'll say that. And then also, did we want to open up nominations from the floor before we move into candidate speeches, or are we going to do that for each role?
We'll do it for each role.
Okay,
After the candidates have spoken, we'll do it for each role.
Perfect. Thanks, Keith.
You're welcome. And I'm trying to find my list. I lost it. But for vice chair, first will be Natalia Neal. Is Natalia with us? If not, we will move on.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you see me now? Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Natalia Neal, and it was with deep gratitude and pride that I submit my candidacy for vice chair of the UNC Employee Forum. For those of you who do not know me, I currently work as a business officer in the Gillings Academic and Student Affairs Office, and my relationship with Carolina runs deep. Fun fact, I was born in the hospital on campus. I won't tell you what year that was. It was called UNC Memorial back then. But I've been part of the Carolina family for an employee for nearly 15 years, and I've had the privilege of serving as a delegate on the UNC Employee Forum since 2014. Outside of work, I'm a Star Wars geek, I'm an avid reader, quartet singer, Call of Duty enthusiast, proud dog mom, and a cancer survivor. My life experiences have definitely shaped me and made me resilient and fueled my desire to uplift and empower others. During my many years on the forum, I've learned to work alongside other delegates to amplify staff voices and build connections across campus to achieve our collective goals. I've served on several forum committees, including the Executive Committee, the Communications and Public Relations Committee, and the DEI Committee. I've also chaired the Recognition and Awards Committee and the Book Club, sometimes at the same time. I've also represented the Forum on Key University Committees, including the University Policy Review Committee, the Chancellor's Golf Tournament Committee, the Carolina Peer Support Collaborative, and most recently, the Parking and Appeals Committee. My goal has remained the same throughout all my years of service as a delegate to foster a culture of inclusion, celebration, and connection. As a Black woman and a lifelong North Carolinian, I know how vital it is for all employees at UNC to feel valued and heard and empowered to lead change in our own corners on campus. And if elected, vice chair, I vow to continue to work alongside my fellow delegates and the broader university community to strengthen employee engagement, elevate staff voices, and help make Carolina an even more collaborative and supportive place to work. Thank you very much for the honor of your consideration.
Thank you. Next up, we will have Lisa Peterson.
Is Lisa on the call?
All right. Are there any nominations of delegates from self-nomination or nominating another? Oh, no. Okay, Lisa is on.
We'll give her a couple of minutes. While she's getting ready, as Keith said, any nominations for vice chair from the floor? Okay. Do we want to move to the next position and then we'll come back to you, Lisa?
Okay. So next position is secretary, and actually, Katie, I think I want to switch it up and call for nominations first. It just seems more practical. Any nominations from the floor for the secretary position? If not, the
Lisa's
floor is
back,
closed.
by the way. Lisa's back.
Yes, the floor is closed for nominations for the secretary position. We will circle back to Lisa Peterson and let her have her couple of minutes to speak on her candidacy for vice chair. And then we will move to Tiffany Carver for secretary.
Sorry, guys, I was putting out a dumpster fire. So for those of you that do not know me, I am Lisa Peterson. I am what is my title? Compliance and Finance Manager in the School of Medicine. I also am a current doctoral student here at UNC and have my oldest son is also part of the UNC system. I have been involved with an employee forum since I relocated here to the wonderful state of North Carolina for my job at UNC, and just dove in as soon as I came. I've been on the staff assembly since my inception here at Employee Forum and serve on several other committees through the Employee Forum and staff assembly. I am very dedicated as a past social worker to speaking up for all voices, and not just what is applicable to me, but anybody who is affected. I have learned immensely from those here on the Employee Forum throughout my tenure, and feel I have a lot to continue to give in another role, so would be honored and pleased to be vice chair of the Employee Forum to continue the great work that we all are dedicated to doing here at a university level.
Thank you. We will move to the secretary position, Tiffany Carver.
Good morning. Good morning. So, just wanted to say, I didn't write a speech, y'all, because I like to speak from my heart. It has been an honor and a pleasure to serve as secretary of the forum for several years now, and I have appreciated being able to support so many awesome chairs, and I would love to be able to do the same for Rebecca. Over the years, I've been on different committees and served in different capacities on the forum, and have been asked to run for different things, and I always say no. Not because I don't think I could do anything other than be secretary. It's just that I love the service aspect of being secretary. I love the planning of events. That is something that I do outside of the university. I'm very big on community and connection, and so as secretary, being part of membership and engagement, that is something that I take pride in doing. So I'm running unopposed, but I still take this very seriously. I still don't think any less of the position. I love what I do. I love being able to help support Matt, who I call the real secretary. He keeps me sane, and I help to support him in any way that I can and take some off of his plate. So just appreciate your confidence in me over the years, and appreciate, again, the opportunity to be able to serve, which might be my final year for a little while on the forum this coming year. So happy to close out my long-term service for a little while, at least, still being your secretary. So appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany. Next is the role of treasurer. This is a one-year position, as well as the vice chair and the secretary are one-year positions. The candidates running for treasurer are Ellie Alexander. I'm going to say the name. Tell me if I get it wrong. Theron Ravuri and Annetta Streeter. Ellie, you have up to 5 minutes to speak on your candidacy.
Hi, my name's Ellie Alexander. I'm the department manager in the Department of Economics in the college. I've been on the forum since 2019, currently serving as co-chair of the Leadership, Education, and Career Development Committee. And in that capacity over the past couple years, with some financial changes at the university, policy changes, I've been sort of where the sausage is made, as it were, in budget meetings, and sort of seeing how things roll out on the financial side of the forum. So I have some ideas. I would love the opportunity to serve as treasurer, but there are also wonderful people running, so, I won't be offended. But yes, I would love the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellie. Next, we will have Theron, or Theron.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you. My name is Tarun Rawuri. So I joined UNC Chapel Hill last year. Before I jump into the speech, I just want to give you a small background about myself. I'm a first-generation non-immigrant staff member who is working for UNC Chapel Hill. I got graduated from UNC Charlotte with Masters in Computer Science, and I got a job opportunity with UNC Chapel Hill. I stand here before you as a proud international staff member from a small town in South India called Musgrove. I came here with big dreams and a bigger determination to make an impact. I did not just grow up with the privilege. I came to this country with the hope that hard work, honesty, and also the community would matter more than the power or the politics. But I have seen how difficult it is to navigate the system when you are not from here or when you are from the outside of this country, when the rules always doesn't work in your favor. And that's exactly why I'm running for this treasurer position. In my current role, I have saved thousands of dollars by building the effective and the efficient cloud cost solutions. I believe in financial responsibility, I believe in transparency, and I also believe in making every dollar count, not just for the forum, but for every staff member whose voice has been overlooked. I'm not just here to manage the numbers or the spreadsheets. I'm here to fight for the fairness, to build the trust, and to ensure for the forum's financial responsibility and the forum's financial reflect the values that we stand for, which are inclusion, equity, and also smart leadership. So if you're ready for someone who speaks up, who values the forum values, and who stands with you, I'm asking for your vote. And thank you so much for giving this opportunity.
Thank you. And our last candidate is Anita Streeter.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Annetta Streeter. I am your current treasurer and would love the opportunity to be re-elected to this position. As noted before, it is a one-year term, and this past year I've had the wonderful opportunity to learn more about how we manage and disperse the funds that are provided to us as a forum, and making sure that that too is kept in line with what our mission is as a forum. A little bit of background about me, for those of you who don't know me. I am a dental hygienist by profession. My current position is the Director of Patient Relations for the Adams School of Dentistry. So I work essentially in risk management. I am typically the one who receives a concern or a complaint from a patient when things have not gone quite as expected. Sometimes that's around finances, sometimes it's around professionalism and just how things are going for the dental patients who come through the school. So it's somewhat of a thankless job, but I remain hopeful that we're doing some good work over at the school. So in the current role that I play as your treasurer, I will say that it's quite a bit of questioning, asking questions for clarity, and so that's part of the responsibility of the treasurer, somewhat of an oversight. I rely heavily on the chair of the forum as well as our administrator. So there's a lot of number crunching that is behind the scenes, but in my questions to the group, and I apologize for not naming everyone that I collaborate with, but they know that there may be some questions from me as the treasurer, from Annetta, about what those numbers look like, because that's what I see as my major responsibility, to ensure that when a budget is presented to you or when updates are presented to you as the forum around how we're spending our money, what we're receiving, and how it's going out, my role is to ensure, is this the best use of the money that we're receiving? And is it in line with what we do as a forum? And is it in line with our mission? So I appreciate the support that comes from those who really crunch the numbers. We're still working on a couple of things. And one of those is to provide, I'm not sure if it's me individually or if it's the treasurer role, but just providing access to the platform that allows us to see in real time how expenses are handled, and how monies are handled that come into the forum as well. So the work continues on that, but please rest assured that the group that manages our funds, they work very hard. We all work very hard to make sure that when the budget comes to you, that it's been fully vetted, and it does align with the mission of the forum. So I appreciate your confidence in me, and moving forward, hopefully the work can continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Annetta. And I do believe I forgot to open the floor for nominations. I am currently in California and it is still early. So, yes, are there any nominations for the treasurer position from the floor?
Point of order. Keith, you did ask for the nominations before we went back to Lisa, and there was none. You closed nominations.
I think that was for secretary.
Oh,
I don't think I did it for treasurer.
Okay. Sorry.
But thank you, David. Hearing none, we will move on to the next position, which is the position of parliamentarian. It is a 2-year position. Are there any nominations for the parliamentarian position?
Annetta?
I'd like to nominate David Bragg.
David, you've been nominated from the floor. Do you accept this nomination?
I will respectfully decline the nomination.
I just want to say that to whomever chooses to nominate themselves or accept a nomination, I will be happy to work with you as you become parliamentarian and become familiar with it. It is not as terrifying a role as you might think, and we follow Robert's Rules of Order fairly loosely unless we are in a hot debate, which you may see here shortly.
Any new delegates, don't be scared. If this is something that you're interested in or passionate about, like that, throw your hat in the ring. Do it.
Just unmute yourself and nominate yourself. Go for it.
Hi, this is Mercedes Haas. I'll nominate myself for it.
Yay!
I'm a new delegate, though, so I'll definitely need some guidance and help.
All right. Thank you, Mercedes. Would you like to speak on your candidacy?
I'm going to pass because I really don't even know what to say.
Okay.
Fair.
Mercedes,
You just got a standing ovation in the room, by the way, which you probably couldn't see.
One question. How do you spell your last name?
Haase.
All right. Thank you. We have that noted. Any other nominations? Seeing none in the chat, and Katie, I'm assuming there are none on
Nope.
in the room.
You are good to go.
Nominations for parliamentarian are closed, and Mercedes is our only nominee. So, moving on to staff assembly delegate. Excuse me. This is a 1-year position. The top 2 vote getters will become staff assembly delegates. The candidate with the third number of votes will be appointed as staff assembly alternate. The candidates currently running are, and if I mess up your name, please forgive me, you can correct me. Joe Chetlet, Lisa Peterson, Tharun Ravuri, Charlie Rice, and Annetta Streeter.
You missed Natalia Neal.
No, she withdrew her nomination.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Are there any nominations for staff assembly from the floor?
Megan?
I'd like to nominate Sarah Green.
Sarah, you've been nominated from the floor. Do you accept the nomination? Okay.
Was it accepted, Katie?
Yes.
Okay, so we will add Sarah Green. Any other nominations from the floor?
Anybody else?
All right, so we will start with Joe.
Good morning, everyone. Glad to meet everyone. I'm going to get to hopefully know and get to read myself to everyone here. Just give you a little bit of my history. I had to take some notes. Didn't have time today. So I've been working in facilities here at UNC for almost 12 years, UNC housekeeping facilities. Really quick, I've had a lot of experience with housekeeping, with facilities over the years. Before I came to UNC, I was in Connecticut, and I worked for an all-girls school, high school, private school. I want to really reveal the name, well-known private school. I worked there for 26 years in all facets of the jobs. I did everything from HVAC, plumbing, heating, also got into training, first aid, AD, because I was on the fire department for 22 years. And that was my other job. And I do have a lot of experience in many areas. I hope to bring all that experience to the forum. I want to help everyone out. I feel like I'm a people person. I mean, David can tell you, I manage David, and I do everything I can possibly. I listen. I try to help everyone out in every way. And I hope I bring that leadership to where, if I do get nominated for the position. So I want to keep on talking about myself. I want to end it right there. David's smiling at me.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe. Next, we will have Sarah Green.
Sarah?
Thank you. Thank you. Hello. This is unplanned, obviously, so please bear with me. I'm Sarah, for those of you that don't know me. And I did think about running for staff assembly. I think we, as the Chapel Hill Forum, have a really great opportunity. One of the things I am most passionate about is equity. I was the DEI person when UNC still had those people. And I do try to bring that into everything I do. We heard this past year that Chapel Hill has one of the best relationships with our chancellor and the biggest opportunity to be advocates. What I would love to see from staff assembly is us leveraging that as a collective across the system. So while I would bring comments and thoughts and concerns from this group and from our employees at Chapel Hill, I also would love to be and create more collaborative advocacy at the system level. So if that's your bag, I'm your girl.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah. Next, we will have Lisa Peterson.
Hi guys, me again. So I have been on the staff assembly for the last 2 years, starting out as an alternate and then carrying over when one of our delegates had retired. Prior to coming to UNC Chapel Hill, I was a very closed, reserved person who came from very toxic work environments. That had all changed when I came to UNC. Since coming to UNC, I have blossomed out, and I attribute a lot of that to both Employee Forum and Staff Assembly. I have gotten great relationships with people not only from UNC, but close relationships with those on the Staff Assembly as well. While sitting on Staff Assembly, I currently have taken a very hard feat of following Keith as co-director of the Chancellor's Golf Tournament, as well as sitting on 7 other committees since joining Staff Assembly. I feel that being an employee and a student at Chapel Hill, as well as having family that attend other systems schools, is a good asset to bring. It reinforces that I need to look out not just for myself and Chapel Hill, but as well as the entire system as we all work together and collaborate and have good relationships with each other. I would be honored to continue serving on staff assembly and being the voice, one of the voices from Chapel Hill, as well as the system in its entirety, and would appreciate your encouragement and vote in maintaining that and continuing to do wonderful things for not just us, but the entire system. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Next up, we have Tharun.
Once more, thank you so much, guys, for giving me this opportunity. I'm also running to be a staff assembly delegate, and this one is my personal interest. I came to UNC Chapel Hill in chasing the dream of education, opportunity, and respect. And I came here with a lot of confidence, hope, and the will to serve the community. But even after coming here, I have seen and felt how heavy the system is when you look, when you sound or think differently. And that's why I'm running to represent not just those who already have a seat at the table, but those who don't even know where the table is. And I want to be the delegate who listens, who amplifies the underrepresented voices, and who asks better questions at the UNC system level. If I am elected, I'm not just going to carry your messages, I will carry your concerns, your spirit to the UNC system level. Because we deserve a seat and we deserve a say in this. Thank you so much for once again giving me this opportunity.
Thank you. And next up, we have Charlissa Rice.
Hello, Employee Forum delegates. Hi, my name is Charlissa Rice, and I am an executive search consultant now. Woo woo. And I am running for one of the UNC Staff Assembly seats. When I joined the Employee Forum in 2022, I knew I had found my people. While being a delegate, I've had the opportunity to learn and grow professionally while stepping outside of my comfort zone by co-chairing a couple of Employee Forum committees. This past year, I have had the opportunity to co-chair the Recognition and Awards Committee and DEI Committee, while also serving on the staff advisory to the Chancellor Committee. Being on the ground floor and doing the work is what I love to do. The Employee Forum provides us with a safe space to continue to support each other through challenges while working together to make UNC a better place. The UNC Staff Assembly's primary goals are improve communication and understanding across the UNC system, enhance morale among staff members, increase efficiency and productivity, advise communication with university officials, and foster establishment and growth of staff organizations. All of these are goals that I strive to achieve and are near and dear to my heart. By voting for me as a Staff Assembly delegate, you will know that I am fighting for us and continue to build the foundation that we have built as delegates of the Employee Forum. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. And finally, we have Annetta Streeter.
Hello again, Annetta Streeter. I am standing here before you this time as a candidate for a staff assembly position. I've had an interest in this position for a couple of years now, and I believe the work is critical. When I think about the position itself and the opportunity with the system, with the UNC system, I think it's important for us to be able to in order to be as effective as we can in our jobs, is that we understand what happens at other universities that are within the system. And I also think it's an opportunity for us to collaborate and partner and create this critical mass when we're trying to advocate for better services, better working conditions, better work-life balance. When we live and exist and work in a vacuum, we lose sight of what others are experiencing. And I'm sure that staff at the other universities run into the same challenges, is that they need more leverage, they need more voices, and if we can build that bridge with them and understand what they're going through, we're able to realize that we're going through the same things. And there are some huge issues that require that we build a critical mass, a critical voice. And I think when we stand on that as system schools, we're able to get things done, because a lot of us are experiencing some of the same things. I'm a collaborative leader by nature, and so I do believe that it's important before decisions are made that all stakeholders have the opportunity to say and bring their perspective, because I think it creates more of a challenge for the decision makers if we haven't heard all of those voices. And so if we capture as much as we can, as much information as we can from the outset, we have a better chance of making a solid decision that we can live with, that we can manage, and that we can create better opportunities for all of us. And so it helps us if we have good working conditions and feel good about ourselves when we come to work each day, because ultimately that's what supports our students as well. So thank you for your consideration and your confidence in me.
Thanks, Annetta.
Thank you, Annetta. And now I will turn it over to my colleague who is amazing, Matt Teal.
Thanks, Keith. Hard to follow that. So thank you to all candidates for your willingness to serve in these leadership roles. Now that we've had the opportunity to hear from all candidates, we will describe how the election process will run. In a few moments, we will place a link in the chat that will take you to a Qualtrics ballot. But before we do that, it is essential to note a few things about the voting process. Number one, you must be an employee forum delegate to vote in the officer election. All incoming, outgoing, and continuing delegates are eligible to vote. Number two, North Carolina law states that each person voting must sign their ballot. This means that you must include your first and last name within this Qualtrics ballot. Who you voted for will not be shared. Number three, each delegate may only vote once. If you submit more than one ballot, then all ballots received under your name will be removed from the total vote count. Number four, the only required field within the Qualtrics ballot is your name. You can then choose to vote for any or all of the open officer positions. In just a moment, we will place the short link to the Qualtrics ballot in the chat and also share the link on the screen for those attending in person. We're just going to do a short link instead of a QR code. You will have 5 minutes to complete and submit your ballot. At the end of 5 minutes, we will check in to see if anyone needs additional time to complete and submit their ballot. If you have trouble accessing the ballot during this time, please unmute yourself and let us know that you need assistance. Once the ballot closes, we will take a few minutes to tally up the votes. We will then return to the Zoom meeting to announce the newly elected officers. Are there any questions about the process? All right. Hearing none, we will now place the Qualtrics ballot link in the chat and share the link on the screen. So give me just a second to do that.
If it gives you a message saying you need a code, I have it.
Okay. Just the link in the chat. Gonna share. There you go.
Perfect.
All right, your 5 minutes for voting begins now.
All right, folks, while elections are ongoing, we are also going to begin discussing and doing the second reading of the resolution 23-03, I think it is, 25-03. It's not in 2023. Wow. With that said, I realize we're about 5 minutes shy of time, so I would appreciate y'all being able to stay probably 10, 15 minutes after, because I would love to have a debate. Yes.
The ballot is showing that you can only vote for one staff assembly delegate. Is that correct?
Oh, no, you should be able to vote for multiple.
Nope, that is correct.
Wait, what? Oh. Top two plus the third gets
The top two vote getters will get the delegate positions, and third place vote getter will become the alternate. But delegates can only vote for one.
I don't think that that's statistically sound. I think we should be able to vote for two. And the top
I'll
two
need to
vote
change the
getters
Walter's ballot to allow that.
plus the third highest vote getter gets the alternate.
Okay, give me a second.
All right. We're going to redo that, but while we do that, we're going to...
We've already voted then? What do we do?
I had it open. I know I did.
Yeah, Katie, there are already 23 responses.
So we'll redo the ballot. So if you already voted once, you're going to have to vote again once we send the new ballot. Yeah, close it out. We're not voting right this second. They're fixing the ballot. Yes. No, I had it open.
Sorry.
So while we are getting the ballot ready, this would be a good time to take a quick bio break if you need one, or to get a refill on your snacks. I guess it's a bio break of a different kind. And then we'll also be handing out the swag bags and your certificates for current and delegates. Tiffany is helping out with that.
Matt, while you're updating that ballot, can you update Anetta's first name is misspelled?
Sorry about that.
Worries. Let's turn it over to Rebecca. We're going to do the second reading of Resolution 25-03.
Thank you, Katie. And just as a quick update, this is something that we did our first reading on at our last meeting in, I guess that was the month of May. Everything in 2025 seems to be running together in my brain. And the Personnel Committee met and had a very good discussion about the comments we received in the last meeting. We made revisions in light of that, but also in light of additional conversation at that meeting. So this is the updated resolution, and I will do the second reading, and then we will open for discussion. Resolution 25-03 in support of community safety and care. Resolution of the Employee Forum, the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, June 6, 2025. Whereas the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill is home to faculty, staff, and students from across the globe, including in 2023, more than 2,600 international students, nearly 10% of the enrolled student body, from more than 110 countries, and 937 international scholars from more than 80 countries. And whereas federal executive orders have been signed which negatively impact our Carolina community members' ability to exist in the U.S. safely, be paid for their work, and travel to, from, and around campus without fear. And whereas the current federal administration's push for increased and abrupt deportations prevents a real threat to our international scholars at all levels, as well as to our permanent resident alien and naturalized U.S. citizen staff, faculty, and students. And whereas in the last several weeks, the Student Exchange and Visitor Information System, SEVIS, records of students at public and private universities from across the country, including North Carolina State University and UNC at Chapel Hill, were terminated without clear cause, then reinstated. Others have been wrongfully detained. This has created uncertainty in academic programs and students' careers for all departments and all students, leaving international students and scholars uncertain of their safety and place within their respective universities and their eligibility for due process. And whereas many U.S. citizens have also been detained in violation of their Fourth Amendment rights, and whereas a culture of fear is not conducive to innovation, collaboration, nor excellence, and will stifle UNC at Chapel Hill's ability to fulfill its mission to serve as a center for research, scholarship, and creativity, and to teach a diverse community of undergraduate, graduate, and professional students to become the next generation of leaders. And whereas UNC at Chapel Hill is a public place and it therefore does not inherently provide protections against intimidation and harassment by federal actors and is no longer considered a protected space, particularly from immigration and customs enforcement officers. And whereas the Fourth Amendment offers protections in workplaces when spaces are clearly designated as private, but UNC at Chapel Hill's University Council has so far declined to clarify whether any faculty and staff offices on campus are private, thus creating uncertainty about protection and safety at our place of work. And whereas UNC at Chapel Hill should be prioritizing the safety and success of all its employees. Therefore, be it resolved that the Employee Forum calls on the Chancellor and his cabinet to, 1, prioritize the safety and success of its employees, all of whom are working with authorization and have earned their places within this institution. 2, clarify whether faculty and staff offices are private spaces on campus. 3, hold informational sessions about how the Fourth Amendment protections against unreasonable search and seizure and our First Amendment rights to free speech without government retaliation apply in the workplace. 4, partner with fellow universities to demonstrate a united front in the pursuit of knowledge and the freedom of inquiry in the science and humanities. 5, publish regular updates about the status of lawsuits impacting the Carolina community. 6, resist calls to involve the university in the criminalization of peaceful First Amendment protected dissent and protest. 7, protect all staff and faculty, especially our international scholars, from hostile work environments and discriminatory actions. And 8, create working groups, task forces, focus groups, and/or identity-specific support teams to bolster the mental and physical health and safety of our most vulnerable employees. The employees of Chapel Hill, of UNC at Chapel Hill, make this institution what it is, and we deserve a place where we all can show up to work without fear of discrimination, harassment, or violation of our our constitutional rights. Sorry, attorney brain. Signed on behalf of the Employee Forum, Katie Musgrove, Chair, Rebecca Howell, Chair-elect. And I think at this time, where's my parliamentarian? I believe we need Katie, do we need a motion? Consider? So we need a motion to consider discussion? Second. All right, we've got a motion and a second. So it is now open to discussion. And I'd first like to give the Personnel Committee, who had participated in the revisions of this, an opportunity to make any comments or ask any additional questions. So if those of you on that committee would like to unmute yourselves or push your microphone button here in the room, please do so.
I don't have any questions, but this is Sharon. I just want to thank everyone for helping us get here. And thank you for doing the reading, Rebecca.
Sure thing.
Rebecca, I'll speak for just a second. I don't have a question. I just wanted to echo Sharon's comments here and thank everyone who has worked on this. I think we're in the third iteration of some version of this document, and I have seen a lot of discussion behind the scenes in the Personnel Committee and in the ad hoc committee. I think that started this with its first iteration. So much discussion, so much hard work, and so many people bringing their ideas together. I think this was very thoughtfully crafted. I personally think this is something that needs to be said, and I just wanted to also echo that I appreciate everyone who was involved in this.
Thank you, Greg. Other discussion? And this does not have to be from the committee, if there isn't anyone else from the committee that wishes to speak. Seeing none, is there a motion?
Motion to vote?
Motion to vote, thank you. See, I'm going to be learning parliamentarian procedure with all of you. Is there a motion? I move. Thank you, Sarah moves.
Yes, that was a motion to vote.
Elizabeth seconds. Excellent. And I think for this one, we will go ahead and do just a voice vote. All those, and please do unmute yourself. And if there's any question regarding this, we'll move to a roll call vote. All those in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
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 All those opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Any abstentions?
I abstain.
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 I abstain as well.
I abstain.
It's enough to pass. Ten abstentions. I think we're sufficient to pass. Unless there's an objection, I believe based on the voice vote that this resolution passes. If there's anybody that wishes to call for a roll call vote, please let me know and we can do that. Seeing no objection, Resolution 25-03 passes and will be posted to the employee forum. Thank you to everyone who participated in this discussion. All right, next on the agenda. Oh, that's not my computer. The election. Yes, we're going back to the election. Matthew Teal, sorry.
All right, let's try this again, folks. I apologize. Qualtrics has finally deleted the old survey results, so I'm going to repost the link in the chat. I'm going to reshare my screen with the short code, and I'm going to restart the timer. We're going to have 5 minutes. So please complete your ballot in 5 minutes. If you need more time, please let us know, and please let me know if you have trouble accessing the ballot. So there's the link in the chat.
Katie,
And
how do I
then
get the link to show? I got this. Okay, thank you. I'm technologically inept in this room. Look at you. I'm so glad I have technological assistance.
this is a new ballot.
Same
All
short link.
previous results were erased. So if you voted before, you need to vote again.
So while we are in the midst of the elections, Katie is passing out the certificates for delegates and also signs for those of you that are continuing or are here as new delegates. Laminated signs that you can put in your office or on your door, wherever would be visible of your employee forum term. So if you're 25 to 2027, then you'll have a sign that'll say that you're an employee forum delegate, and then folks will know that they can come see you. If you are online and cannot physically pick up your certificate today, you are welcome to stop by the forum office on Franklin Street on Tuesdays and Fridays. Just reach out to, you think I would know your name by now, Matt Banks. I'm tired. It's been a long week. But that would be through next week. You can do that next week. Otherwise, it'll be available for you at the retreat in July, as both Matt and I will be out of country, me for work. So just know that that is available to you. He can also mail it to you. Just email Matt Banks, and he can send it in campus mail to you. He's happy to do that as well. All right, Matthew Teal, how are we doing in terms of time, in terms of ballots?
Ballots are looking good. We've got quite a few that have come in. The 5 minutes have concluded. Does anyone need 2 more minutes to complete and submit their ballot? Okay, hearing none, we will close the ballot. No further ballots will be accepted from here forward. We will now tally up all the votes and return to the Zoom meeting when we are ready to announce the newly elected officers. We turn the meeting back over to the chair.
All right, and that is not me.
I guess that's me still. So I just also wanted, I know I was busy while Rebecca was leading that portion of the discussion, but really a huge kudos and shout out to all of the folks who contributed to the resolution 25-03. I know that was a labor of love and it was a slog to get to a final vote, but we got there. So thank you all for contributing to that effort. Yeah, as Rebecca mentioned, if you didn't get your certificate today, feel free to schedule a time to come pick it up from Matt. Or if you want, we can send it via campus mail. Let us know. Certificates for the award winners. If you didn't get yours today, I doubt many of the award winners are still on the call, but that same thing goes where you can schedule to pick it up or we can arrange to get you your award certificate. Yeah. Yes. Yes, please come forward. Shayna Hill, our chair emerita. We're going to have like 3 generations of employee forum chair up here. It's going to be awesome. 4. Charles, you want to come up here and like we're going to do like the conga?
Do I have to press anything?
Another gender up here. I don't know how to identify, but...
Hey, everybody. I just want to remind you the Employee Forum annual pool party is June 14th. That's next Saturday. Katie sent out.
Is it Saturday or Sunday?
What's the 14th?
Saturday. It is a Saturday. Camera.
Sorry, pausing for picture. Katie sent out the information. If you need it again, I'll recirculate the email, but please plan to join us. It's a lot of fun. It is spouse and child friendly. It is potluck, and it's BYOB if you so choose. Bring your own beverage.
All right, thanks, Shayna. And we love Shayna's house and her pool parties. It's a very relaxed environment, and an opportunity to get to know each other, relax, get away from the work of it all. With all of that said, I never use this thing. It's a gavel, but I'm going to ceremoniously pass it to Rebecca. who is welcome to use it or not use it as you wish. But here you go. Congratulations again.
Thank you, Katie. And I know we are running over. We do have a couple of announcements. I think the Staff Advisory Committee is June 23rd. You want to finish that?
Yeah, so STAC Advisory Committee, last meeting of the year, actually probably won't be with the Chancellor. He's traveling a lot in June. So Christy Hurt, who we love, is going to be kind of closing out the STAC year. So STAC members, that is the new date. I think you guys have the Outlook invite on your calendars. Our next Vice Chancellor Reps meeting is July 10th. Rebecca will probably be sending out the Zoom invite for that one because Matt will be out of the country. So looking forward to that conversation, probably another good opportunity to ask more pointed questions of Nate and others in a more intimate setting. Yeah. I think those are the two big things.
And I'm going, all committee meeting is June 24th. So we will eventually get that in the agenda. And that will be from 10 to 11, I believe, via Zoom. So you will have that link available to you. And I'm going to take a point of personal privilege since, I know a tiny bit of Robert's rules, enough to get me in trouble usually. And I just want to take a few minutes to thank Katie for her decade. And counting, because you're not done. Service to the thousands of employees here at Chapel Hill. Even though you are stepping away as chair, you're not going very far. You'll still serve as immediate past chair or whatever the name of that role is next year. So you're not going to get away from me. Plus, I have the privilege of working with Katie at the law school. So she is in a locked space, so she has to actually willingly let me in. But, hopefully she does. I know where she lives. So not only am I grateful you'll be here to guide me in my first year as chair, but that you'll continue to be my colleague. You've exemplified the values of Carolina in everything you do. From being a very enthusiastic Tar Heel at sporting events, gracefully sharing her tickets when she can't go, to serving students and assisting faculty at the Carolina Law Clinic and clients, and to fiercely advocating for staff on the employee forum. You live, breathe, and probably even dream in Carolina Blue. You've been part of the employee forum since shortly after you joined UNC as an employee, and it didn't take long before you began to dip your toes in the pool of leadership. And then you just kind of dove right in. You've been part of the forum for over 10 years and chair for the past 4. You helped shepherd us through the bumpy return to campus as the pandemic waned. You also helped both the campus and the forum figure out what the post-COVID higher ed space and meeting realm looks like. And now, after you have tossed me, you very gently gave me the gavel, thank you. And you're going to help us try to keep the holy ship afloat despite the incredible pressures and attacks that higher ed is facing. Through all of this, you have never wavered in your dedication, commitment, and love of Carolina. If anyone's blood runs Carolina Blue, that would be yours. The Red Cross team from the blood drive might argue with me on that, but I'm not persuaded. As you get some well-deserved rest, I have a few things to help you enjoy your new free time. As much as Employee Forum has been a puzzle, and I'm not sure we have ever had all the pieces, I don't want you to feel too lost without the gavel, so I have a very Carolina puzzle to keep you busy. And you very wisely do not have a cat. that will knock every piece everywhere. So there you go. And you must be comfy as you work on this puzzle. So you need some fuzzy socks. And finally, since I have your number and your address, you're going to hear me whine from time to time. So you need something to hold a more pleasant form of whine.
Yes. Cheers.
And the one thing I left at home was the tea. There will always be a need for tea. And in keeping with my scattered menopause brain, I left that at home and in my office. But that's okay. I promise to share that tea as appropriate. Some of it may be plain, some of it is fruity, and some is pretty spicy. I hope we will enjoy that together. Thank you.
I'm looking at my predecessor over here, trying not to cry, because that would be like Shayna, like embodying me, because that was my mentor and is still a mentor of mine. So really looking forward to passing on that same mentorship to Rebecca in this next chapter. It's going to be an interesting one. Not that we haven't had interesting and tumultuous times during my term, but it will continue. So thank you for all of that. That is so sweet. Yeah, I think, do we have any officer election results that we want to share?
We do.
We do, yes. So that's the last thing we're going to leave you with. Again, I know we went far over scheduled today, but we had a really important reason to add that presentation earlier today. And as you saw, it's a really important topic to folks all across campus who joined. I think the number got up to 225 at one point online. So yeah, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Matt Teal to read out our officers. And if you were elected as an officer and you're here in person, I have an extra swag bag for you. So come see me.
All right, Katie, we're going to get through this very quickly. The individual who served as vice chair will be Natalia Neal.
The individual who served as secretary will be Tiffany Carver.
The individual who will serve as treasurer will be Annetta Streeter.
The individual who will serve as parliamentarian will be Mercedes Haas.
And the individuals who will serve as staff assembly delegates will be Charlissa Rice and Sarah Green.
And finally, the individual who will serve as staff assembly alternate will be Annetta Streeter.
All right, so thank you to everyone that ran. If you ran and did not win, do not let that discourage you from still doing the work. So please join us in giving these individuals a round of applause. Thank you for your willingness to lead the employee forum in the coming year. And thank you to all the delegates who voted in the process. Katie, it is now your meeting. Oh, to adjourn, or is it Rebecca's? I don't know. And save me a swag bag.
Do I have
And
a motion to adjourn?
Matt Teal deserves one as well.
All right, then by acclamation, we are adjourned.